Hello and welcome. Happy New Year to anybody who is listening to this. With this being January 1st day of record, uh, New Year's Day, we're going to be doing a look backwards on our previous year, talk about what some of our favorite and highlight moments of media have been, and then we're going to look forward. We're going to see what we're most anticipating to come up this year. Uh, this is not a list of things that necessarily came out this year. We're talking about things that were just new to us this year. Um, so, with that being said, we're going to start with games. Conlin, what is your game of the year?
For me, I actually had to shift from what we said a couple weeks ago because I thought about it. And this year I've played a ton of those roguelike card games and I love them. I just have a really good time every time I played them. And I've literally played hundreds of hours this year with them. And Balatro is just fun. It's every single time I play it, I have a really, really good time with it, and it has something that's unique from the others. I'm pretty good at these card games. I have been since I was a kid. Blotro, the hardest levels are so freaking hard. You just have to play them again and again and again, and you basically have to be perfect, or you will not beat it. Slay the Spire, different things like that. They're difficult, but they're not near the level, and that I think that's what makes Balatro different than some of these other games. Is you can continually just push because it's so hard to get that golden chip. It's not an easy thing to do. So my most enjoyable game, the game that I chose was Balatro, followed closely by Diceomancer, which I'll talk about on our next episode a little bit more.
Okay, cool stuff. Mine was a very hard pick for me. Uh, you've got all the new stuff with Star Citizen. I've been talking about Star Citizen for like the last month and a half. Um, but I've got to go with Remnant 2, which is a little bit of a cheap because we started it end of the previous year. But finished it last year. Um, this is a great little co-op game. Um, really cool puzzles, and it's a game that we played together. So this was a game that we got to hop into together. It was always very exciting, and it was a game that was so much fun that we were both wanting to jump into to
Mhm.
just to play, oh, we'll just hop in and play for an hour or whatever. And I still remember when we got to the cube puzzle, how we were both like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool." Uh Not many games get that kind of reaction from one person, uh, much less everybody who is playing it, you know? So that's why it got the edge for me, is just because of how cool that puzzle was. The other puzzles were pretty good and such a fun cooperative experience. And I love good cooperative experiences.
It's fantastic. It's such a good game. And I love the difference in classes. They really make a solid difference in the way that you play, in the way that you think about playing, and the way that you interact with people. You're right, that cube is it's just so cool. It's such a cool boss fight. It's there are very few boss fights that will stick in my mind like that one did because it is just so unique. There's nothing else I've ever played like it. It's so much fun. You're relying on each other and you're like, come on, come on, come on. And you're cheering each other on just for that one last shot in that perfect place to get past this puzzle. It's a it's a fantastic game. What a wonderful choice. Wonderful choice.
Thanks. I like to think so too. All right. We're gonna jump over to movies now. Uh, this one was a pretty easy choice for me, um, because when I wrote it down, there was only one that really jumped out to me. Um, I feel like there's probably some stuff that I'm missing that I had seen for the first time this year. but this one actually came out last year, so it was pretty easy. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Um, Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim nearly took this, but at the end of the day, I have to go with Deadpool and Wolverine. Um, just a good time. Uh, it's not the best movie. It's not the most well written. It's not the most exciting story, but it's one that all the actors and people involved just had a good time making it. And that actually radiates on the screen and you just have a good time watching it. Um, that intro with the bye 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 song is just
It's
it's
awesome.
gonna be iconic, and you gotta love it. You gotta love that Johnny Storm showed up and not Captain America. You gotta love all the quips. Outside of the movie, you gotta love that the stand that Ryan Reynolds stood on, um, with that movie, um, which I wholly fully support in the making entertaining movies, not woke movies. Um, so I'm all for it. Loved it. I will watch this movie again. That's how good it was. Let's hop over to yours. What is your movie of 2024?
So mine is pretty recent, and I spent a lot of time trying to challenge myself to say, is this actually my favorite, or am I just having recency bias? Mine is Wicked. I love Wicked. I've seen it 3 times since it's come out in theaters. My wife has seen it 4, and every single time I notice other little things that they added that were little details that are fantastic. I think the voice work is so good. I think all of the acting is great. I debated if like Dune was my favorite. I saw Fiddler on the Roof for the first time this year. I really loved that one. I loved the new Alien movie, but I think Wicked is as a magical movie, and they took something that I loved and in ways improved it. As I've watched it more, there's little things that weren't quite as good, but there's small things, and that is miraculous. It's not. It's really hard to take something that you already love from a different form and turn it into something this good. It should. It's hard to have something be this good that was converted from a stage production. There aren't very many musicals that have done it. You can argue that this is better than the stage production in some ways. That's crazy. It's it's just so good. And if you guys haven't seen it yet and you don't hate movie theaters like Josh, go listen to it, enjoy the sound, just enjoy the movie because it's great.
It's actually out now. You can rent or buy it.
I know I'm going to buy
I
it.
have already done so and have seen it. You
Okay.
guys will hear more of my thoughts in the next episode, but
All right.
that's all right. We're gonna hop on to books.
Sweet, sweet.
What's your book of 2024?
Okay. This was the easiest one for me. I didn't even have to contemplate it. It's Kingdom of Death, book 4 in the Sun Eater series. I started Sun Eater this year, and the first book is good. It's a good book, but that's all I say. It's a good book. Second book is a giant jump in quality. Fantastic. Third book is most people's favorite. It is up there with the best sci-fi epics I've ever come across. It is great. The fourth book, this character who's kind of been riding high, he's gotten more power and he's defeated some major enemies. He's connected with the Emperor, which is he's over a ginormous area, extremely, extremely powerful person, and he's become close associates with him. The fourth book is about tearing this character down that has been built up, and he's got a little bit of an ego. He's uh, a little bit condescending towards other people. He's got a little bit of it. It's not enough to be obnoxious, but there's a little bit of it there. And in this book, he gets outmatched in pretty much every single way. And you get to see a character that's extremely well written in a universe that is extremely well realized, smashed and smashed and smashed in very, very clever ways. And the author digs into the human soul in a way that I found cathartic and and soul provoking. Um, and you have this character getting smashed. He gets stuck in prison and just gets hit over. Boom, 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 boom. Gets smashed. And then there's this moment where there's an escape. And I'm not going to go into it. If you read the books, it's one of my favorite book scenes in anything. It's very well done, and it requires a massive sacrifice to actually happen. It doesn't feel cheap. After all the pain you've gone through, it feels earned. You think that the pain is over, but then it just keeps going. And you just dig deeper and deeper into who this person is. You break this person apart. And it's required for where the story goes. But it's mesmerizing how well this is written. And right when you are absolutely broken, you are following this guy and you are feeling the pain with this main character. He has this glimpse of light that I didn't expect at all. It was actually a twist that I didn't see coming. And it's a twist that normally would feel cheesy, but in this particular book, didn't. It felt earned. Felt like the author had justified what you get to take part of. And it literally made me cry. It hit me in the soul. Um, I love this book series. And when we go into most anticipated books, I'll talk a little bit more because the next book comes out, the last book comes out this year, and I'm beyond pumped. If you guys haven't read it, besides BookTube, I don't see this mentioned very often. I tell everybody about this book. Just give it a shot. If you like the first book, you will love the series. I promise. What
Very,
is
very good. Well said.
what is yours, man?
Mine is a cop out, a complete and total stealing, not in the spirit of this at all. I chose the Gregor the Overland series. The reason I feel like it's cheating is I chose a series, not a singular book. And the other reason I feel like it's cheating is I started this series in like fifth grade. This is not new to me. I never read all of the books, so um, the later books are and were new to me this year. Um, this is a fantastic series. This makes me wonder, Susan Collins, what the heck happened with Hunger Games? Why could you write only one of those books so well when every single Gregor the Overlander book is fantastic?
Is I haven't read these yet. You've told me a little bit about them. As far as reading level, are they comparable to Hunger Games? Is that why you bring
No,
that
not
up?
at all. No.
Okay.
So Gregor the Overlander is a middle grade book.
Okay.
It's about a sixth grader who falls down a washing vent into this magical underground society,
Okay.
chasing his sister, and is trying to escape in the first book. And he becomes known as Gregor the Overlander because he's from the Overland. And the Underlanders are trying to, you know, they have these prophecies that are so well written, um, about who this Overlander is and how this thing comes. It's I love that it's middle grade and not teen fiction because it just makes it more innocent and just more enjoyable. There's no garbage in it at all whatsoever. Um, it's just about this kid trying to save his sister, trying to get back home. That's really what it's about in the first book. And in the second book, he goes back, and third book, he goes back, and fourth book, he's still there, and or whatever the combination of those books are. Um, but they have like rats bigger than people, and they have bats that they ride on, but they're in caves, so they're limited. So it's like this natural way of making things fair. Um, they have the Underland City and politics in a very digestible way. Um, and like I said, every single book is great. Every single one of them. And every single one of them has a way of introducing some new characters and new dynamics to keep things interesting without making it feel like, ugh, again, even though every single book is essentially the same plot. It's Gregor trying to get his family home. You know, uh, his father went missing when he was a kid. You find out that his father came to the Underland and is still down there, you know, and it pays off in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, I could have seen this coming from a mile away, or wow, that was really cheap and kind of stupid, or well, that doesn't make sense on why he stayed down here this whole time without going to see his family. Um, so that's my pick for the year. This was actually a very difficult decision for me, even though I'm copping out and going with a little bit of a cheating answer. Because if you look at my Goodreads in 2023, I recorded that I read 5 books. I read more than that, to be honest. I'm just not that good at keeping up with my Goodreads and keeping it up to date and saying, hey, I read a book.
Hmm.
But 2024, it jumped up to 15. So if the ratio stays the same,
You'll
which
be
it
up.
didn't, I read 3 times more books in 2024 than 2025 or 2023. And so it was a very, very difficult choice. I came this close to picking The Couple Next Door
Okay.
if it wasn't for the final chapter in that book. Literally, the final chapter, it would have run away with this for me. I loved that book all the way up until that very last chapter. It
That's too bad.
pissed me the hell off. Um, Full disclosure warning, spoilers, those who are listening. Couple Next Door is this couple has a kid and they go over to the neighbors for a house party and come back to find that their newborn child has been kidnapped. And you follow the perspective of the mother and you follow the perspective of the detective trying to investigate to find the child. And holy crap, this book is so well written. It starts off with this mom, the mother, trying to keep it together, to actually questioning if she killed the child. Right? She's actually driven to that level of insanity, um, because of the way that the detective and her husband treats her, and all this, and her parents treat her. She actually, and it's so well written, and it's so believable that somebody would go to that point, and everything, and you find out that no, she, or you always knew, but she finds out that she was not a killer. She did not kill the baby, and you go, holy crap, she's relieved. And then the last chapter, this is literally the last chapter, she's like, oh, good, I'm not a killer. And then goes over to the neighbor and kills the neighbor next door. And that's how the book ends.
That's so dumb.
It's so
Oh,
stupid.
that's so stupid.
Um, that's why it's been taken off this list for me. Is just because that was such a cheap, terrible ending. Because you find out, like, in her history, she had these like blackouts where she got rather violent.
Hmm.
So she's like, "Oh, did I do that and kill my child? And then is my husband trying to cover it up for me?" And then you find out that the husband was originally kind of behind it, and that the dad, her dad, who didn't approve of the husband, was more behind it, and the couple next door was also a little bit behind it because they wanted to get ransom money, and You're just like, okay, this is a whole lot of people are involved in this. Everybody kind of lost control a little bit. Very well written. Holy crap. She gets to the end. Yay, I have my baby. And then ending the book with her in her living room with a bloody knife because the neighbor had been murdered. And you're like, oh my gosh, really? You could have just like left it. You could have just like not written that part.
But they couldn't help themselves.
But anyway, so that
That's
one
too bad.
very nearly because that like 99% of that book is fantastic,
But the end screws
but
it
the
over.
ending screws it up so bad that
But
I
I mean, we've talked about this before, and you haven't put as much weight in the endings of things. Why is this one different for you?
what do you mean?
Like, I know you like the end of How I Met Your Mother, but I think that's a good example. I feel like you have we talked about Lost, and you've liked that one, but the ending is really
I
bad.
haven't seen Lost.
Was it not Lost? What else was there? I know that there was something else. I'm sorry, this is a bad example. I can't think of it.
Okay. Um, I'm not sure, but with How I Met Your Mother, I love it because of its
Yeah,
ending, not
yeah,
in
you like
spite of
the
its
ending.
ending.
I can't
So
remember. Okay, okay.
yeah. Um, that's probably true somewhere. Um,
Mm,
but this one truly, like, I feel like betrays the character because you went
okay.
through the arc where the girl was like, Did I kill this kid and not remember it? I don't remember putting the baby in the crib. Did I put her in the crib? Like she asks those questions to herself, like a mother who is missing her child.
Would
And, you know, did I put her in the crib? Did I drop her? Did I, change her? What's all these things? And like, you can tell that, like, she's not entirely sure of everything because she had been drinking at the party with the neighbor. That, like, when the detective is questioning her, she's like, creating some holes in her own story because you know, she was on autopilot when she did that. She didn't like do it consciously and awarely. So anyway, so well written, but this one totally betrays it because she finds out she's not a killer just to go over and kill the neighbor.
just
It
stupid.
feels cheap and betrays the character in such a way that I just despise it. Um, but it still came close. Like I said, like you have to give that book the credit for 99%. Like I don't not recommend that book. I just say, "Hey, you should read or listen to this book, but stop before the last chapter. Just end it on the happy note and move on with your life." I feel like the author is probably trying to set up book 2. I don't actually know. I've not read book 2. I don't know if it has to do with this character at all, but you could have just started book 2 with that if that's what you were going to do. And then I could have just ignored book 2.
But
But
you can also enjoy good art, good writing, good whatever it is, and not hate the entire thing. Like Fairy Tale, I think is my favorite example of that. You told me to read that book. The very beginning of that book is unbelievably well written. It is so good. I don't like the end of that book. I didn't enjoy it really at all. But
I
the
didn't
beginning of that book
despise
is
the end of that book
phenomenal.
either. That one came close to making mine as well. But you're right. The latter half of the book just kind of falls together rather than
Yeah.
is the artwork that the beginning of that book is. Um, so, anyways, my book of the year is the Gregor the Overland series. Susan Collins, you've proven you can write. Why'd you screw up Hunger Games in book 2 so badly? I do not understand. But yeah,
Nice book
there's been
then.
a lot of speculation what happens after the the Overlander series. Uh, there's some whisperings that she might write another book in it. I honestly hope she leaves it a little bit open ended like she did. Um, Last note is too often storytellers feel like they have to answer all of the questions or none of the questions. And in this series, she does just the right amount of questions to end it.
I had a
And it's
dumb moment.
amazing.
I was like, why does he keep connecting it to Hunger Games? I didn't realize it was the same author.
Yep. Same author.
That
That's
makes more
why.
sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why I said she's proven she knows how to write more than one book. It's because
Cool.
all of Gregor the Overlander is really good. Same author.
Awesome. How many books were there?
5 or 6.
5 or 6? Okay, cool.
I don't know
At some
off the
point
top of
I
my head.
will I'll give those a shot for sure.
Yeah. It, I just went through a phase early last year. It was like the first half of the year where I was churning out middle grade books. So Percy Jackson, the Disney Plus show, just came out, and so I was like, "Oh, okay." I have an author friend who was writing a book, so I went into actually his book would actually be my book of the year now that I think about it.
Really? The
Yeah,
Christmas one?
yeah, the
Okay.
Christmas one.
That's a good
Yeah,
book. That was a good book.
or not the Christmas one, the Halloween one.
Or the Halloween, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. It's called Halloween Haunt. It's not out anywhere yet, people, but he does a fantastic job with it. And I read that and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to read this to my nieces and nephews this year."
It was
That's how
very
big
good.
of an impact that was for me. Um, Hope you get published, my man. Um, but anyway, let's jump switch gears and hop on over to TV show.
Sweet.
What's your TV show of the year, Conlon?
Okay, this is one that I honestly struggled with. I had a lot that came to my mind, a lot that we've talked about, but it came down to what was I completely satisfied with when I watched it? And the answer to me was Penguin. Um, Everything else I had like these little nitpicks or problems that we've talked about, shows that before but this podcast I had little issues with, but still really good shows. The Penguin, I just think is great. The acting is great. The atmosphere of Arkham is fantastic. Like Arkham Asylum in particular is incredibly well done. Um, the characters disappear into their roles. The family dynamics is really interesting. I love the fight back and forth with the two different drug rings and how the Penguin is playing in the middle of them and playing politics between the two. The girl who plays Ted's wife, what is her name?
Kristen Milioti.
Yes, she is phenomenal in this role. Like, so good. Um, and there doesn't need to be any more. It's a season. It told a very good story, and you could literally stop the story right here, and it would have just been a great show. And I love the fact that I could just enjoy this one season. I could go and enjoy this one season again. If they make a season two and it sucks, oh well. Season one was great. I can just enjoy that. It's it's just a fully satisfying show in basically every way that I measure a good show.
So that raises a question for me. When we
Yeah,
were doing our top tens list, you did not put Arcane out because there was too little of it.
I know.
Yet this one you say, "Oh, I'm happy it's just a season." What makes this one different?
It had me change my opinion a little bit. I actually thought about that with Arcane because would I want more Penguin? Yeah. Do I think they could do a good job? Yeah. But if they don't, that's okay. And I have problems with Arcane season two. Um, I have I rewatched the entire thing, and I have some more issues, and I also have some things that I was too harsh on, and some things I was too glowing on. I've changed my opinion quite a bit about that season, but
Okay.
it's we have season one, and season one was great. That's cool. I'm happy with it. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and Penguin season one is phenomenal. And if there's no season two, that's totally fine. I'm absolutely satisfied.
So with that being said, where does Arcane end for you on your
It
list?
drifts down a little bit, actually, because of season two.
Okay.
Um, I still really love aspects of the last three episodes. To me, the show just feels rushed, and there's a lot of things that don't feel satisfying because it is too quick. I think they had two seasons worth of material there, and they pushed it into one, and I think that was a mistake.
I agree completely. So did you come around onto my perspective on the last three episodes, or are you still more on your side of things?
So I think you have a really good point about me making a fairy tale out of the world where Jinx is a better version of herself. And that it tore it down a little bit for me. I still think the stuff with what's his name, guy with a hammer,
Jace.
yeah, Jason. I still think that stuff is brilliant and incredibly well done. But there's other little issues that are just too fast. I also forgot her name, the Black Princess, who has the magic.
Merida?
The probably I honestly can't remember her name. I think she learns magic too fast. Like it feels like all of a sudden she's capable of a lot more than she should be capable of. It feels also too quick. There's just a lot of little things where it's just there's a lot of little things where there's not enough breath, not enough time to really develop. And I genuinely think they have some great ideas there. They just don't feel satisfying because it's too fast.
I agree completely. They should have spent more time on it. They should have explained a lot more.
Yeah,
And I, for one, am not satisfied with them saying, "Well, the you'll get more answers in future series that are being written."
because it
Don't
should
like
feel
that at
like a
all.
complete story instead of I have to watch this other show to
Well, look at The
get a
Mandalorian.
solid answer. Yeah,
I've never really loved The Mandalorian. I think it's super overrated. But it is terrible that you have to watch another show between season 2 and 3 of The
it's
Mandalorian
stupid.
to make it make sense. That's a bad call.
I
Every
agree. It's
series that is doing that is terrible
it's a bad
for
idea,
doing it. Yeah.
and it's one thing if you go to a different show and you get some kind of glimpse or you get a higher education of the world or way characters work or something. But if you have to go to a different show to understand fundamental answers to your questions, that's just stupid.
Yeah. Agree.
All right, man. What is yours?
Mine I am not completely certain on when I started this series, but I know I finished it this year because the newest part is this year. So I
Okay.
picked Cobra Kai. Uh, this is the best uh, soap opera of all time, without a doubt, in my mind. It's the best one. There is not a better soap opera than this.
Do you count Friday Night Lights as a soap opera?
No, that's a teen
Okay.
drama.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
There
soap
is a
operas,
there's a difference. There's a difference.
yep. Soap operas are whatever can go wrong will go wrong, even if it wasn't really there in the first place. So you create drama for the sake of creating drama. Uh, turns out she was his sister, and all that kind of soap opera ness. That's not in Friday Night Lights. That's not in One Tree Hill. It's still drama for the sake of drama, but teen dramas do a better job of identifying that they're there before paying them off.
Of having some kind of rational negative consequence, rational negative event, instead of just, oh, you're. It would have been dramatic to have your mom die. Oh, your mom died. Wait, she didn't die for real. She's alive. Wow. and having it make
Yeah.
no sense at all besides just popping up into existence, right?
Yeah. Uh, so I, for one, am very excited for what is to come. I loved what they did with the final season right now. Um, I love where they're at. I'm excited to see where they go. Um, and this has been a year long experience for me, so that's why it takes the cake. Is at the beginning of the year, I believe it was at the beginning of the year, I was watching the show for the first time. It could have been end of 2023, honestly. I honestly don't remember. But then part 1 of season 6 comes out, and I'm like, "Oh, this is great." And then part 2 of season 6 comes out, and I'm like, "No, there's another part." Like, so all year I've been talking about this show. I've been looking forward to this show. I paid for Netflix simply to watch this show, and it's been great. I've got no real complaints about it because it is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's a soap opera. And it's stupid and it's cheap and it doesn't care about its character development often. All of those are valid complaints about it. But what do you expect from a soap opera? It's what it is. And for me, the reason why it is number my favorite of the year is just because it has been a year long thing for me, and unlike the other year-long thing for me, Arcane, it didn't feel cheap at the end. Um, it's paid off so far, and I've been really liking it. Now, those are two different things because this is a soap opera, so it doesn't have to pay off like Arcane would have to. Uh, Arcane would have to actually pay off its story, whereas this one can get away with literally crapping on itself. And I'd be like, "Yay! Soap opera so good." Uh, which I feel like it honestly did when it kept the Cobra Kai in the competition. Like,
It did.
no, they were eliminated. What would happen is they would give the top team a bye. That's what they would do. Stop doing this garbage and bringing them back in for the sake of having them in the competition. That's so dumb, but I love it. So, um, yeah, that is my TV show of the year.
Awesome, man.
Blast up. Game of. Hold on. We're done.
No,
Yeah.
we got game. Most anticipated
Game.
game.
Yep. So now we're gonna switch gears to next year or this year, I guess, because it is 2025.
Yeah.
So, Conlin, what is your most anticipated game of 2025 and why? And I feel like before, just a heads up, I feel like he's cheating. Go ahead.
I kind of feel like I'm cheating too, to be completely honest. That's why I have others listed there because it is a little bit, but I have been looking forward to this for probably a decade. It's been a long time. I heard rumors of Sky Oblivion being worked on a very long time ago. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool. I love Oblivion. I love Oblivion more than most people probably do. And it's just old. I'm so excited for a remake of that. I am so excited for how they're going to intertwine Skyrim and Oblivion. It's going to be so good. I've watched the way that they are developing the game. I've watched their notes on development. I've followed it for a long time, and this next year it finally comes out, and I am so excited. That is a little bit of a cheat. So as far as new games go, I had a hard time with this. I'm really excited for Slay the Spire 2. I talked about how this was kind of my year of roguelike card games. I love Slay the Spire. I've played hundreds of hours of Slay the Spire. Um, Titan Quest. I played Titan Quest a ton growing up. We replayed it recently, and there's some areas where it needs some updates. It just does. And I think that they, from what I've looked at with Titan Quest, they are doing those updates, and I'm excited for that. I hope it's good. And then Hades 2 is also kind of a cheat because I'm playing the beta version and I love it. And it might be a cheat for next year, but I'll be very surprised if Hades 2 is not my game of the year next year because I love it. And I love the update that they just did. I love the new weapon they just did. I love the bosses that they put in. And I'm looking forward so much to whatever boss they have next because the third level boss going up is very challenging. And whatever challenge they have after that is going to be great. Um, so, a little bit of a cheat. If I had to specifically pick one that was a new game, it would probably be Slay the Spire 2.
I'm honestly surprised something is not on that list that did make my list.
What
Uh,
is that?
so my pick was, but right before this record, it was Doom: The Dark Ages.
Mm-hmm.
It's now just a special mention for me. Um, I'm
Is that
surprised that's not on your list with how much you love Doom and where I'm at with Doom, how it made my list. This is not an easy thing for me because honestly, there's just not too much that I've been looking forward to beyond 2024. Another honorable mention for me is Fable 4 and Elden Ring Night Rain. Uh, Fable 4 has been one that really could be something special, I think. And I like that they're taking the time to make sure it's right. And Elden Ring Night Rain could be that multiplayer from soft experience cooperative that I've been wanting to have. Uh, we will see uh, if it's balanced well enough, but yeah. With that being said, my most anticipated is Hollow Knight Silk Song. I loved Hollow Knight. I've been looking forward to Silk Song ever since I played Hollow Knight because I played it late. I was not on the first bandwagon to play it. So when I did play it, Silk Song had already been announced. And when I finished playing it, I immediately jumped in to figure out when Silk Song was coming out because holy crap, I want more of this. This is great. This is awesome. I'm very, very excited for it.
Did it actually get a solid release? Because I know people have been wanting Silk Song and expecting it this year. I think they expected it in 2022, 2023, 2024, and now we're getting into 2025. Is there an actual release date?
Early 2025 is what it's
Okay.
currently sitting at. Um, that's the same with Fable 4.
I hope it
That's
is
just how it is.
actually released then because I know a lot of people are very, very excited about this game.
They can take their time, right?
Yeah.
I am not saying, hey, release this, give it to me now. I'm ready for it. I'm take your time, get it right, make sure it's balanced, make sure it's fun. You know, don't lose that secret sauce you had with the first one. You know, that's totally fine with me. And if it's not great, then that's fine too. I'm glad you took the time to do it. Um, but yeah, I'm honestly surprised Doom: The Dark Ages was not on yours because I remember sending you the announcement to it and oh my gosh, that looks so freaking good. I'm so excited. Um so but
Yeah, I thought about putting it on there. I only added three, and those were the three that I was most excited for. I thought about putting Path of Exile 2 because you'll actually have your full release for next year. Putting that on there. Doom. There was one other one. Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I think is what's called. I like the first game a lot, and I think there was a lot of areas where they could have improved, and the second game could be awesome. It looks good. Those were a couple others that I debated.
Okay, fair enough. Let's hop over uh movies. I'm gonna start with mine.
Okay,
Uh, my most anticipated movie for next year is the F1 movie starring Brad Pitt. Um,
it looks
do
good.
I expect this to be the top story of the year? No, I do not. Do I expect lots of plot holes? Yes, I do. This is coming from the same people that made Top Gun Maverick, a movie I am not as big a fan of as most people, but I do expect awesome shots, and I expect it to look amazing. And I am a Formula One fan, so anything to promote the sport and make it bigger and give me more Formula One content, I am a big fan of. So that is my most anticipated. Let's jump over to yours, which I'm
Before
sure nobody's going to be surprised by.
before we get to mine, I'm excited for yours too. I I like I like Formula One from what you've shown me. I'm not as big a fan as you, but I like it. Top Gun Maverick, while I think you have some justification on why you don't like it as much, its sound is phenomenal. And I love really good sound in movies. I just do. I went to Brandon Sanderson. He's an author I will be talking about in our next episode. I went to his theater, and he has the best sound system that you can buy. Period. And you can hear the jets rumble around you, and it is so cool. I'm expecting that same thing from Formula One, and I want to go in a room that has really good bass, and I want to feel the rumble of the engine, and I think it's going to be badass. Just that. You don't even need to give me a great story. Just have some really, really great action shots of driving a car incredibly fast and let me feel that rumble in my chest, and I will enjoy that movie. Um, Now, as far as mine goes, I actually struggled. I struggled with picking which one to choose because I love Wicked so much. I think the first movie was fantastic. In the musical, the second half it has more problems. I still really like it, but it has more problems, and I'm very interested in where they're going to go with it. I also really love the Tron series, and they have a new Tron movie coming out with Jared Leto, who I think is a very good actor. I'm really excited for that. And then Prey was the last Predator movie, and I love Prey. I thought Prey was brilliant. And they have a Predator Badlands coming out. It's a follow up to Prey. I'm very excited for that. But I have been a Mission Impossible fan my entire life, and I literally could not choose anything besides the last Mission Impossible movie. I hope it's good. The last one I liked, but it wasn't my favorite Mission Impossible. I hope they can nail the landing. I hope they do some awesome stuff. I hope it feels like a good conclusion for such an impactful series. That's my most anticipated movie.
So I have the question:
Yeah.
what role did Jared Leto do that sold you on him?
Joker,
Oh, really?
and I think he's really good in that one. Let me look.
I think Jared Leto is by far the worst Joker.
I actually like him, and I know other people don't. That's totally fine. Da, da, da. He's really good in House of Gucci. Dallas Buyers Club. He is fantastic in that movie. And there is one other one that I really like. He's good in Lord of War, and he's fantastic in Girl Interrupted.
Okay. I have not seen anything he's in except Suicide Squad,
Okay.
and Fight Club. Both movies I did not like, and both movies I don't honestly recognize him in Fight Club at all, but
He's a
I
minor character in
hated
Fight
him
Club.
in Suicide Squad. Absolutely hated it. Um, so very interesting to hear you say he's a good actor. Uh, I think at best he's acceptable.
Yeah, I like him.
I just I don't see it. He's terrible.
I think he's a good actor with a lot of potential.
Okay. Very, very interesting perspective. Uh anyway, Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
Uh that's your favorite, most anticipated movie, even though you were let down by the most recent one?
yeah.
Explain that to me.
It's because of the lifelong love for the series and the fact that it's the last one. If it weren't the last one, I'd probably put Wicked over it, to be completely honest, because Wicked Part 1 is phenomenal. But
What if I told you it's not the last one?
I believe that it is.
It's the last one with Tom Cruise.
Okay, Mission Impossible is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is Mission Impossible. There might be able to continue it and have it be really good. I don't know. But as far as a journey goes with a specific character, this journey ends with this movie, and I'm very excited for that.
What if they turned it into a James Bond? Because I've heard it rumblings that Tom Cruise has been in talks with Glenn Powell to
To
continue it
continue,
on.
that could be good. I'm still just excited for the last Tom Cruise movie. I like Tom Cruise. There's He's just a likable actor. I enjoy pretty much everything he's done, even some of his worst movies, like Jack Ryan. I don't think either of those are really great, but I like him in them.
I love those movies.
Oh, really?
Actually, they're fantastic. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get why people hate them because there's only one bad thing in that movie, the first one, and the bad thing is that they crushed my dream car.
And that's
They
it. That's
blew
the
up a
only thing you
Chevelle.
don't like,
That's my only complaint about it.
huh?
Like, what did people expect from a Jack Ryan spy thriller? Like,
I think they were expecting something more like Terminalist,
I think they were expecting something more like the John Krasinski Jack Ryan because that's
or
more
that.
in
Yeah,
line with what the books were, and they went more of a terminal list kind of direction. But
with
it's a
that.
movie, guys. Like, yeah, there's gonna be explosions and stupid. Like, I don't know. I
But you
love
just like
them.
it.
I
That's cool,
just
man.
like them.
He's just an
Um,
enjoyable actor. I like him.
fair enough. Fair enough. I am also excited to see what the newest one looks like. I am very far down on the most recent one though. So it's it's good. I know it's just like a part 1, part 2 that's coming out, but it's going to take quite a bit of work for me to be back on the Mission Impossible train because I did a thing where I have not seen the movie since I was a little kid and I went and bought them all and I went and watched them back to back to back. And I've told you this. They're all the same movie.
They are all the
All of
same
them.
movie.
Every single one is the same plot where woo, somebody in the organization betrayed them. I just got sick of it, especially watching it back to back to back. Yes, the stunts are cool, but beyond that, there's nothing that separates one from the other. I cannot pick a favorite Mission Impossible because they're all the same. I can pick my favorite stunt,
But
and that's
that's
when
it.
he runs down the building in, I think, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, it's so awesome. It's such an awesome stunt.
but the rest of the like they're all the same, and so I'm not a big fan of the series. I'm interested enough to see what happens, but did not make my most anticipated.
That's
But
fair, man. I don't think it would make a lot of people's most anticipated. I think a lot of people would be like you. They want to see the movie. They're excited for it, but it's not like I just that is what I have to see if I can only see one thing next year.
well, I think the biggest thing dragging it down is that it's part two of the worst Mission Impossible movie.
I actually think the second one's the worst one, but this is the second worst one to me. It's not the best
I
Mission
think this
Impossible.
is easily the worst one because at
Oh,
least the second one is the whole story contained in one movie.
instead of splitting it into two parts.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right now, you've just got the first boring part. Um, all right. Switching gears now, we're going to talk about our most anticipated books. I am
Okay.
actually shocked by yours. Completely
Really?
astounded that yours and mine are not the same. What is yours?
So we'll get into what yours is in a little bit, but mine is Sun Eater Book 7. It's called Shadows Upon Time. I went into it a little bit earlier. I love Sun Eater. I love this series. This series, we started this channel to focus on things that really made an impact on who we are, the way that we think about the world, the way that we view the world. And Sun Eater has done that for me. You have a character that is an arrogant princeling kind of a character that gets broken down, and you get to walk with him along that road. You get to dream with him along that road. You get to experience his powers and the moments that he isn't powerful enough. You get to experience the moments of kindness and the moments of love. You get to experience him lose the love that he had and be betrayed by the people that he thought he could trust. And it is all so well written and so introspective that it forces you to look at yourself. Along with that, you have a world that is worthy of this character. You have political machinations that are worthy of the story being told. You have writing that is capable of capturing human emotions and human dreams. And I get to experience the end of this story this next year. I am so excited for this. I'm excited for the directions that he's going with it. Book 6 was a big shift from the earlier books, and it was insanely well done. He's just improved in his writing capabilities. You get to see a character who starts as this young kid, but now the world has changed completely. He goes into like these cryostasises, and years and years, like 50 years can pass while he's in this cryostasis, and he doesn't age. He is part of a higher genetic group of people, and they age a little bit differently than the rest of society. So you get to see him literally work with grandchildren of the people that he saved in earlier books and how that affects him. How the massive amount of time has shifted his perspective on the entire world. And you go from this scrappy kid who's kind of going in gladiator fights to survive and figure out what the next step is to an admiral type character, someone that you can admire, someone who everyone recognizes and stands up for, someone who's trying to teach the next generation. You get to follow this entire life. You get to see him connect with others in a different, more meaningful way. And I get to see the very last book of that. I get to be with this character. If this book is able to land it, this series would have a high contention to be in my top series of all time, maybe my top series ever written.
Fair enough. Is the thing that puts it over the edge from my most anticipated the fact that it is the last one in your series and it's not in mine?
It's the last one in the series. It's partly because I Patreon your series and I've read it already, and
You've
it's
read a
very
draft of it, yeah.
yeah, and I am excited for how they're going to be able to voice it because it's insanely well voiced. Uh, it's because it's the last one. It's because it's had so much of an impact on me personally. If I had to do honorable mentions, yours would be an honorable mention. Red Rising is ending this year too. I'm very excited for that. I believe that the First Law author, who I love those books, he has his new series he's starting this year. I'm very, very excited for whatever his next book is. Um, those are just a couple that are off the top of my head. I'm very excited for, but Sun Eater has really, truly left an impact on me. If I hadn't Patreoned and I didn't know the story, it would be hard. I would have a hard time. I don't know what I would choose. I'd probably still give it to Sun Eater, but it would be hard for me to choose.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
With
let's hear
all that
yours.
being said, mine is Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 7. Uh, I love this series. It's on my top 10 list. Two of them are on my top 10 list of all time. I am re listening to Book 6 right now because Book 7 comes out next month. It is so good.
That's so good.
Like, I don't comprehend how good it is because have you read or listened to any of other Matt Dinniman's other works?
Yes, I have. And the amount that he has improved as an author is staggering.
It's amazing. I tried listening to the Kaiju book
Yeah,
because I love Godzilla. I'm a Godzilla fan. Like, I have dozens of Godzilla movies, but I hated Kaiju. I could not get through it. How do you make a book about monsters destroying things so freaking boring? And here he is with Dungeon Crawler Carl. He has not missed.
not at all.
Not at all. Every single one of his books is great in this series. And I freaking love it. And I'm so excited for book 7. I'm so excited for seeing what happens next and where things go. I so this is my second time listening through a book. Something I have never really done before. People like books I've read more than once. My all-time favorite book, Head Game. The second time was not great because you already knew the twist. You already knew what was coming. I guess there wasn't really a twist, but you didn't see where it was going. And uh, Scout, what's her name? That book,
Oh, How to
uh,
Kill a Mockingbird.
How to Kill a Mockingbird, and then there were none. That's the total list. Oh, the Bible. That's the total list of books I have read more than once until Dungeon Crawler Carl. And this is my second time listening through it. I took a big break between book 5 and book 6 because I had to listen to other things, Epic the Musical. And um, I am noticing things.
Yep.
I am noticing so early on, spoiler warning, not really, it's not that big of a deal, I don't think, but Katya's smoking problem. He alludes to it so much earlier, and I didn't notice.
Yeah.
And like in book 6, there's a part where he's like, "Oh, there's these secret drug dens in the club," and Katya's like, "Oh, you might want to tell me about those. Maybe I can figure something out." And you're like, "Drug addict behavior! I can see it!" And so good. Like how do you enjoy something so much and get so invested into something over and over and over again? Right? I'm having the same feeling as I had with How I Met Your Mother when you rewatch it and you see all the clues to towards the mother dying all along the way and you're like, "Oh my gosh, how did I miss it?" I'm having that same thing again with Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is so incredible to do. and book 7 comes out, and I'm so excited.
You are going to love it, man. I You will love this book. I've re-listened to Dungeon Crawler Carl 5 or 6 times now. It's something I can just put in the background and I can enjoy. And you do find new little things here and there sprinkled about that are fantastic. It's such a well written story. And when I talk to people about it, I talk about how good he is at side characters. Because you get a massive amount of development for side characters that you don't even spend that much time with in the book, but you just are interested in them. You're invested in them.
Mhm.
There are so many different clues, and he doesn't waste any. He doesn't waste words in these books. Everything has a point, and everything is used later. So you can figure out what's going to be the next part of the book, what's going to be in the next book. You can guess some things because the clues are there, and then he's able to throw in wrenches that you don't guess at all.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
yeah.
This is besides the
He
point, but I do Patreon, and the beginning of book 8 is my favorite start to any of his books by far. Like, it's not even close. I love it.
8 or 7.
8. They just started writing 8 on Patreon, and after 7, I was interested in what was going to go on. He starts book 8 with a bang. It's great.
I'm looking forward to that too. Uh, I think what he does really particularly well, like if I were to say this is what Matt Dinniman does so freaking well, is having things go on outside of the main characters without feeling like it's cheap,
Yep.
right? He does a great job of just giving you enough to let you know that there is this entire universe and stuff is happening, but you don't get to see it all because the character doesn't get to see it all. Uh, the side characters, you get to see just enough of them to know that they're developing without feeling like, oh, they just got super OP off screen. Um,
Yeah.
and you love those characters and they develop those characters, and the the you're exactly right. He doesn't waste words. Um, Another little highlight from this book, book 6, the one I'm listening to right now, because this is the one that's the most fresh in my mind. Um, it was alluded to in book 1 that NPCs might not always be generated. In book 1, they directly say it, right? Or not book 1, book 3, when it gets the cookbook. One of his first entries is talking about NPCs. In book 6, he has another realization moment when he realizes he killed not a generated natural person. He killed somebody from the actual universe. Not just someone who was about to get out. That is such good writing. It's so good. This is a very special series, people. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
I'm excited for where it's going to go next. He's got plans that he's asked that the Patreons don't share, other than he has one story where he's working on with a different character. He hasn't told us which one, but that is going to come. I think he's going to have it's a different person who's going to write it. I hope it's good, but I think he's going to have Prepotente, a story with from his point of view, which I think would be really cool.
I think that it should be the old lady. I can't think of her name right now.
The one who becomes the Ice Witch or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, what is her name? I don't remember her name either. But
yeah. Um,
looks
Mostly
pretty good.
because I'm most interested in her as a character. She's the one I feel like I don't get enough of. I
Okay.
think Prepotente is the obvious choice because he clearly is the one who has the most going on. He's the one who set up the level skip. Um,
And he does such cool stuff in this next book.
he
Prepotente
does such cool stuff.
is so good in this next book.
Yeah. So I feel like he's just an obvious choice, and mm, Carl already has that kind of market of screwing up the game. I would love to see somebody who's just adjacent.
That'd be
Um,
cool.
I have re-listening to it. I have more questions than I think I did the first time. Um, Something that really struck a chord with me is I just finished the Christmas scene,
Okay.
and Louis lost his mind against Carl because Carl's being a Scrooge about Christmas,
Mhm.
and says like, "I see this look in your eye, and I don't know when you're gonna snap." And that stuck out to me the second time listening to it because of all the clues that are being laid down about the ring that he's using
And the river.
and the Bedlam Bride and the book. And it makes you think like how much of Carl's mind is being manipulated by the game, or is he actually going insane? And the fact that other characters are seeing it is amazing. Anyway, I'm very excited for book 7. I don't if we're still, recording next year, I don't know how many books I would be able to anticipate because unless they're in like a series, right? Like my book would be book 8 or 9, whichever one is coming, until this series is finished, and then like other than Dungeon Crawler Car, I'm not really anticipating any books. Um,
It's just that one.
it's just that one. So, but man, I love this series.
It's so good,
Love
man.
it.
And they're planning 10 books. I don't know if you knew that, but that's his plan.
I have no idea what the end date is. I don't care how many it is. Do it 20 as long as you know where you're going and you're going to deliver.
He
That's
knows
that's
exactly
my
where
big
he's going. He has had 10 books planned for I think the last 2 books. Has it all wrote out. He knows exactly how he wants to end the series. He's just working towards it. There there's a lot of cool things that he is developing right now. I'm excited to see where it goes past just the book.
I'm excited too. Uh I really hope that uh 10 books is not solidified because I don't want something like Arcane to happen where they just have so much and he doesn't deliver it all, so he feels like he has to jam it all in at the end. Um,
I
we'll see. I don't know. It is a book, so you can just have a longer book,
yeah,
so that's less likely to happen. But I think if it gets to the point where he's like, you know what, I think I really just need 11 to really tell this story right, he does it. Or I hope that he has the maturity to say, hey, you know what, I really don't have enough for 10 books. We're going to do 9 books with a part two. Book nine's going to just have a part two. Um, I'm fine with that too. Um,
I think you
he's
will.
never, I fully trust Matt Denneman. It's not very often that I trust a writer or a creator of any kind. Um, there's no like actor that would just get me to go see something because that they happen to be in it, or no director or producer. Like there's no name you can put on a screen that would make me go, yes, I'm in. Um, and Matt Denneman is not that way either, to be clear, because his other writings is not great. But with Dungeon Crawler Carl, I fully trust him
Me too.
and what he's gonna do. So
He's literally the definition of what I like the experiment. I think they did it at Harvard, but they took a group of students and they split it in half, and half of them had to make 100 pots, and the other one tried to make one pot as great as they possibly could. And the half that made the 100 pots ended up with a better product at the end of the semester than the group that tried to make that one perfect pot. And to me, I'm glad Matt got those times where he got to write and honestly not do that good of a job. Kind of suck at it over and over and over again because he literally is the definition of improvement to make something that goes from absolutely sucking to beautiful artwork, some of the best fantasy that's ever been written. And
I
I'm
agree.
I'm happy that
But
he got to do that. That's cool.
yeah. All right. What TV show are you anticipating for next year?
Okay, so I had a couple. Um, I'm excited for Reacher season 3. Season 2 kind of lowered it a little bit for me. I like Andor season 1 a lot, and I'm excited for season 2 of that. I am excited for Night Agent season 2. I really liked the first season, really enjoyable. But the show I'm most excited for is Alien Earth. It is the in the Alien saga, but an alien has gotten onto our planet, and it is made by the same creator as Fargo and Legion. I really love Fargo, and I really love Legion, and I expect that this show will be very good. I am a sucker for the Alien franchise. I like I even like some of the bad movies. I just enjoy the franchise a lot, and I think this could be great.
Fair enough. What is your favorite bad Alien franchise thing?
Um, favorite Alien versus Predator is my favorite bad one. It's a terrible movie. It's not good at all, but I have a lot of fun with that one. I also like Alien 3 a lot. A lot of people don't. There are problems with it. I get it. But if you get the director's cut of that one, I really enjoy that movie.
Okay, fair enough. Alien versus Predator is my number one remake that should happen
I think it could be
because
awesome.
it is a fantastic idea
I agree.
and the story is great. The writing is just the most cheesy, ridiculous writing, and you
It's
could have
terrible.
just a little bit better writing. I don't even think the actors did that bad. The
Just
writing is just
better writing.
so bad. Just better writing and probably a little bit better of actors, and you would have a great movie. Um, yeah,
There is one that's in my like suggestions. I honestly thought you were going to pick, and that's Succession 2. I have problems with Succession season 1. I do, but there's a
I haven't seen
lot.
Succession season one.
What?
I
Not
haven't seen
Succession.
Succession.
Sorry. What is that called? The one where they split their heads in half. Not Succession. What is that called? What is it called? The one where they go to work and they have one personality and they go home and they have a different one.
Severance.
Severance season 2. That's what I was going for. Not Succession. I thought that would be your number one. To be completely honest.
I liked season one. It's fine.
Okay, I thought you liked
Um,
it more than that.
no,
Okay.
I just think you're wrong about it.
Oh, all
I
right.
think your
So you
hatred
fought
of it is
against it.
wrong.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like it's it's not great. It's not a fantastic movie. I'm surprised the next season of Shrinking isn't on your list because I saw that advertised and even I was like, "Oh, maybe I should watch this show."
I like it. It's a good show.
Um, but yeah, the one I'm most surprised is Andor season 2.
I was too, to be completely honest. It is the
I'm
only Star Wars thing
shocked.
that I'm happy that I'm still excited for, really at all. But I I hope it's good. It probably won't be, but I hope it's good.
It definitely won't be. I can tell you right now. Full disclosure to anybody who's listening, I am not an Andor fan. I think it sucked.
I
I
thought you
think it
liked
cheapens the
Andor, just
character.
didn't love it.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
It is the best live action Disney show, Disney Star Wars show.
It's the only one that I actually think is good. Like legitimately good.
I don't think it's good. I think it falls between the meh and I guess we can watch this kind of area of show.
Okay. I thought you were higher
Uh
on it than that.
no, I don't really like it at all. It's not the worst thing in the world. Uh, Rogue One is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars things, and I feel like it is ruining that character for me. I think is the biggest knock against it.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, Disney and Star Wars does not work. It
Problem is,
just
for
doesn't. And I
me,
used to be
Andor
hold on,
was one of the
hold on,
few times it
hold
did.
on.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I used to be on the camp that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were the saviors of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I used to be in that camp. I used to say, as long as Kathleen Kennedy stays the heck out of it, we'll be fine.
Hmm.
I have been proven so wrong. It is not it you can't deny it anymore. Disney and Star Wars just doesn't work. Sell it off, Disney. Please. I will buy it for $1 and I will save it because I only have $1 and I can save it. Um, it's so it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be bad.
I know. I debated not putting it on the list because Star Wars has just beat the hell out of me so much. But I'm like, Andor, I liked season one. I liked it. And I want Star Wars to be good. I want it so bad. But I also know it's probably not going to be, which sucks. But I hope. I hope. The, yeah, I hope it's, I don't know. I don't know.
If it's good, I will become I'll give Star Wars another chance.
I
I
wouldn't
just
give I wouldn't give Star Wars another chance. I'm giving this show a chance. Like
I
this
would give
show.
Star Wars another chance.
Really? Okay, okay.
Yep, I have heard nothing but good things about Skeleton Crew.
Really?
Yep,
Okay. I
nothing
haven't
but
paid
good things.
attention at all
Nothing
because
but
I'm
good things at
really not
all.
interested.
Jude Law, Star Wars. I like Jude Law. I think he's fantastic. Uh,
Yes.
I heard one TikToker say that this is the best showing of kid actors ever.
Wow.
I don't
Wow.
know this TikToker. I don't like necessarily trust their opinion, but the fact that was said, I think says something. Um, it's got an essence of um, I don't remember where I saw it, but I feel like there was an interview where somebody was talking about the same thing that Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool. And that was somebody was putting their foot down to make it about storytelling and about not about messaging.
Cool.
So really close. I don't know. It's close, but I'm not completely sold on Skeleton Crew yet. I'm not completely just gonna give it a shot. Um, it helps that I don't have Disney Plus, so it's not really just like an active option to me. But I don't know. And or I don't think it should be made, honestly. I don't think it should have been made. That's really where I land on season 1. Uh there's so much Star Wars out there. There are so many great Star Wars stories already written.
And planets and
And
worlds and
so many
eras and
planets we've never
everything.
gone to and all that kind of stuff. Why are you not just telling good stories? Why why did you take what was such a great written book, and that was the Thrawn series, and just throw him into the Ahsoka series and have him be some fat, lazy
Piece
piece
of
of
shit.
garbage. Like, I'm not mad that he was in Ahsoka. I'm mad that he made it so if they did a Thrawn something, nobody would watch it because that's what they're going to associate with Thrawn.
It bugs me too. I hate that show.
Um, but anyway, I really don't think Andor season 2, Reacher season 3 is going to be good, not great. Black Mirror, I know
So
nothing about. Night Agent, we'll see. I hope it's better than season 1.
I liked season one a lot, and I think that they could improve. Black Mirror is the one I haven't talked about yet. I Black Mirror is it's depends on the episode. Each episode's a different story. But one of my favorite episodes of TV ever is a satire making fun of Star Trek, kind of. But you have a geek guy who creates his own world where he's basically a king that he can log into every single night, where he's a god, basically. And he gets to play the Star Trek commander and do whatever he wants to these AI people. And the girl that we were talking about earlier, who's in Penguin, who is Ted's wife, who I can't remember her name ever,
Kristen
she
Milioti.
she's in this episode. She's fantastic. I love the whole concept of the episode. I love the idea of this AI world versus this real world, and this person who's different, who um, demonstrates his insecurities in the world where he gets to be a god, and how they deal with that in the story. They are going back to this world and this episode, which is something Black Mirror really has not done a whole lot for this season. And for that one specific episode, I am incredibly excited for this whole season.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
now what is yours?
Mine literally just changed because I had a realization.
Okay.
Uh, I it doesn't have a release date, but
Hmm.
I would be shocked if it does not come out 2025. We'll see, I guess. Uh, if it does, it'll be the end of the year. Day of the Jackal season 2.
Okay.
We're gonna talk more about this in our next episode, but I loved Day of the Jackal season 1.
Okay.
It is so good. I'm so excited for more. I'm so excited to see where the story goes. I kind of thought it was going to be a standalone one season thing, and I was kind of really excited about that. But they answered the right questions to make me excited for season 2.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
So,
Cool.
uh, before literally 30 seconds ago, it was Suits LA because I love Suits, and Suits LA could be really good. I think the actor Steven, whatever his last name uh, is a really good actor. I mean, Arrow season 1 was phenomenal, and even though the rest of the series kind of sucked, I don't think he was to blame for it. I think he did a good job
I
in
agree.
spite of bad writing and directing. Um, and the Cobra Kai season finale. This is either going to be really, really great or really, really stupid. It is a soap opera, so I really don't have that high of expectations, so it's really not going to be that hard to meet them for me. But it is possible for a soap opera to be bad, people. So uh, we will see on that one. Um,
I'm curious because you like Cobra Kai as much as you do. Are you excited for that Karate Kid Legends movie
nope,
at all? I
nope,
think it
it's going to
looks
be terrible.
so stupid. Like
Nope,
what?
I can tell you exactly what that is.
Okay.
It's the guy who plays Daniel LaRusso and the guy who plays Johnny Lawrence realizing that they have nothing going on for them other than the Karate Kid. So they're making more Karate Kid.
It surprised me that Jackie Chan got involved. When I watched the trailer, my thought was, what does Jackie Chan hope to get from LaRusso at all, ever? It's Jackie freaking Chan. What are you guys doing? What are you talking about? I don't know.
He was in the other Karate Kid movie.
I know, but it's like, what does Jackie Chan, what is he missing that Daniel is going to provide? I literally cannot think of a thing that would make sense. It just, I don't know, it seems stupid to me. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it's good.
I don't know. We'll see. Uh, honestly, it doesn't take that much to get a good Karate Kid movie.
That's true.
Like, when was the last time you went back and watched the original trilogy?
It's been a couple years.
Yeah. I watched 2 and 3 for the first time beginning of the year, end of last year time frame. I don't really remember. Uh, but they're just enjoyable. They're
Yeah.
terrible. They're cheesy as heck. Uh, there's no continuity at all,
Mm, yeah.
and Daniel
Yeah.
has to learn the same lesson through all
Over
three.
and over and over again.
You know, uh, but they're just enjoyable. The fact that the Jackie Chan one didn't work out is amazing because it
Because it's
doesn't take
also
that
just an
much.
enjoyable movie. I actually like Jackie Chan one. I think
Oh, I
it's.
hate the Jackie Chan one.
I don't understand that. I really don't. I like the other ones better, but I still enjoy the Jackie Chan movie.
Oh, I did not like the Jackie Chan one at all. I think what they did was try to take it away from being soap opera-y and try to make it more serious. And what you ended up getting was just awkward, uncomfortable weirdness, and then the movie was over.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah, I
I
didn't feel
feel
that
like
way.
that's the sweet spot for Karate Kid. But anyway, um, not looking forward to it. I think there's another Karate Kid project in the works. Not looking forward to that either. Um, Cobra Kai, hopefully you keep up the quality that you've had, and I will be satisfied.
Awesome.
All right, that is going to wrap up this episode. Ended a little bit longer than I think we were planning on or thought it might be, but thank you everyone for putting up with us for this long. Really appreciate you. Like, subscribe, uh, send us some messages if there's something you want us to talk about.
Thanks, guys.